Welcome to the show. San Diego State and Utah State. A Saturday overdrive continues from San Diego in the Mountain West Conference. One of the great student sections in all of college basketball. Up to date with Wyoming's win. Colorado State has won. San Diego State sits at 6-2. The real surprise, Doug Gottlieb, there is Utah State at 5-3.
An inexperienced club that lost 4 players from last year, picked 10th in this league, but Utah State is on the rise, especially after taking down the Cowboys and beating them in Logan this week.
Starting lineup, Utah State is very young and experienced. Jalen Moore, the only Division I experience coming in. You've got freshmen in Collette and Perry.
Yeah, I'm very careful to say they're not young. David Collette's 22 because he redshirted, went on a mission, and came back. But he's inexperienced, and that's just his first year playing college basketball.
Question mark for San Diego State. How much in the tank for Matt Shrigley?
I don't know. Not a lot, because whatever was in it came out. The end that it came back in. He was throwing up earlier today. He didn't warm up with the team. He looks like he's lost 5 pounds, but he's grinding it. It's grinding it San Diego style. It's 75 degrees outside and sunny, and Trix is going to give it a go.
San Diego State style, it is sold out. 51st consecutive sellout, over 12,000 on their feet right now. First possession, San Diego State. J.J. O'Brien, kick out Shrigley. This is an Aztec team that beat Fresno State on Tuesday, but lost last weekend at Fort Collins to Colorado State, and a turnover. Utah State with the possession. Of course, Steve Fisher, a long and successful run at San Diego State. His 16th year, 24th overall. He has won well over 500 games. We have 2 coaching legends here in the West, and Stu Morrill and Steve Fisher.
Stu Morrill has already announced that he is going to call it a career at the end of this year. And as good as you think Viejas is, it's a home court advantage. How about the Aggies are 245-30 at home under Stu Morrill?
That's another great home court advantage in student section. The Herd up in Logan. Well, neither team scoring on their first possession. Driving hard was Akil Quinn, met at the rim. Utah State runs a lot of sets, and they are one of the best offenses and one of the best shooting teams in the Mountain West Conference.
Well, we're talking a lot about the coaching tree that Stu Morrill is a part of. Of course, he was a former assistant to Mike Montgomery, who called it a career last year at the end at Cal.
He's got 2 disciples right now who are doing great in the Pac-12. Nice look inside to Moore, and Jalen Moore starts the scoring for Utah State. Aztecs, not a great shooting team, 41% from the field. Shrigley. Well, off the trainer's table, into the starting lineup, and onto the scoreboard.
I don't need no warm-ups. Wasn't out with the team, just out there, just sitting back in the back of the locker room, looking like he was at death's door.
Julian Perry. Moore feeds Collette. 22-year-old freshman. Moore drills a 3.
Jalen Moore has a ton of talent, and he's actually, I think, benefiting greatly against many teams from playing the power forward, even though I think he's a natural small forward.
Some feel that Utah State is the most improved team in this conference, not from last year to this year, but from this year to this year, from January 1 on.
And this is like most sophomores. You improve his confidence. Look at the arch. That barely tickled the twine. That was about as perfect a jump shot as you're going to find. And yes, Julian, you get 3 for that.
That foul was on David Collette. It's his first personal. Moore with the rebound. Darius Perkins runs the point. A converted 2-guard from junior college, and a walk on Moore. And as you noted, his father, a legend in the Hall of Fame at Utah State.
Works at Utah State. He's grown that afro for 3 years. That is his signature look.
And Stu Morrill, an old school guy, is cool with that because, as Morrill put it, it reminds him of Guys that he used to play against back in the 70s when he was a Gonzaga Bulldog. Shepard. Short on the jumper. Moore has another rebound.
Of course, Gonzaga connected to the Judd Heathcote family. It's kind of all in that same big family tree that has spawned so many fruits. They're all spread throughout college basketball.
Yeah, they are, and they are all having success. Wayne Tinkle.
Tom Izzo, a former Heathcote guy.
That's right. Larry Krastowiak, Utah. Blaine Taylor had a nice run at Montana and Old Dominion. Corner three, and Perkins missed it. Quinn, we talked about the improved offense from him.
And he cannot shake Chris Smith. Chris Smith, excellent defender. Junior college transfer, so inexperienced, but not young. He's got a grown man's body.
O'Brien, good ball movement. Quinn steps in.
Boom.
A 5-5 start in San Diego.
And that's the one thing about San Diego State, why teams struggle to zone them. They're not a good shooting team, but the ball doesn't stick against the zone, so they get better looks, and the zone provides them angles to run in and get offensive rebounds.
Perkins. Of course, last year, Xavier Thames was the really the fuel that made the engine run.
And remember, they also had Dwayne Poley, who a lot like Jalen Moore, is a small forward playing the power forward that stretched out defense.
Quinn's pass too strong. Just underway in San Diego, in the Mountain West. San Diego State, Utah State, 5-5.
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by the all-new LG G3.
Turning into a gorgeous night, aren't they all, in San Diego?
It's not fair.
5-5, San Diego State, Utah State. Rich Waltz along with Doug Gottlieb. This is an interesting contrast here. Utah State's so good offensively, they shoot it so well. And San Diego State is all about disrupting that stuff.
Yeah, and what San Diego State likes to do is make a bucket, pick you up full court, and get you out of your sets. Well, if you look early in this game, Utah State got an easy bucket on a blob, baseline out of bounds. And this is what's called the flex offense. You have a shooter set a flex pick, and then a down screen, blob flex. So blob is baseline out of bounds. Flex is the offense. Many people ran it in high school. A lot of people run it in college. But it's the personnel. Jalen Moore setting the coming off the screen because he's a slasher, and Julian Perry, who's the shooter, setting the screen. Defensively, you can't help off Perry, and that creates the opening for Jalen Moore.
At stake in this one for San Diego State and for Utah State, we showed you the standings. San Diego State at 6-2, and Utah State has surprised everybody by racing to a 5-3 start in the Mountain West.
So here's what I mean. So for San Diego State, now this is where they extend their pressure. Generally, they don't like to trap. They just kind of want to wear you down. And if you turn the basketball over, that's great. They're going to fake at you, fake at you, fake at you. But now all of a sudden, you get the ball into the front court, and you got 26 seconds for an offense.
JoJo McClaston is in, and he turns it over right away. Quinn leads the break. And he's fouled by Moore. Turnover leads to a run out, leads to free throws.
Well, that's what you cannot give them easy buckets. You cannot give them second shots. If you just make San Diego State line up and beat you with half-court offense, you give yourself a shot. And they've had games like that. The Fresno game, the Cincinnati game, the Washington game.
Quinn hits the first free throw. Quinn's such an interesting story, a walk-on from Northridge State, and when he arrived here, Steve Fisher didn't even know his name.
Yeah, from CSUN, Cal State Northridge. And but they had a guard named Al Fox, who was a walk-on, who became a star here at San Diego State. In-state tuition is reasonable, but during his transfer year, he actually worked so he could help earn tuition.
And his parents took extra jobs as well to help pay for it. McClaston navigates through the pressure. Smith, Moore, nice feed, and the left-hand lay-in by Elston Jones. Utah State ties it at 7. Both teams have gone to their bench. Dakari Allen, Angelo Chol, Trey Kell in for San Diego State. This is Chol. Nifty move. Tip. It was O'Brien.
Therein lies the problem with zoning San Diego State. An excellent rebounding team. And when you zone, there's not defined box-out assignments.
Chris Smith. Moore, McClaston, Jones, and Perkins for Utah State. Smith in trouble. Allen with a strip. Transition 3. Good rebound by Perkins, and he's fouled by Kell.
J.J. O'Brien's one of those do-everything guys. And as Angelo Chol goes up, there's nobody on him. What a pretty little tip-in. Reverse kind of no-look tip-in. They do call him J.J. Fisher because there was a time, especially going back to last year, when he was struggling, and the rest of the staff was saying, Coach, we got to take him out. It's almost like he's his son. He likes the way he plays so much and loves him as a kid so much that he's like a son on the team to Steve Fisher.
What coach wouldn't love him? I mean, he leads the Aztecs in rebounding, assists, steals, minutes.
And just a super high basketball IQ. But between the relationship with JJ to his mom and his mom trusting Steve Fisher, another transfer, they've had such success here on Montezuma Mesa with transfers.
Well, he would not have transferred here had he not been recruited by Steve Fisher, and the Aztecs wished him luck.
That's not going to work.
Kell with the steal. With a lob, and O'Brien finishes, and the defensive pressure. Utah State starting to waver. Henry Bolton running the point right now for the Aggies. Sean Harris in for Utah State. David Collette is back in. McClaston. Collette spins away. McClaston almost walked. That's a difficult shot.
Utah State has completely lost their minds. I mean, no one's running the offense. They're all just trying to do it themselves.
And another turnover. O'Brien. We talked about how inexperienced they are. Chol sauntered through the lane, and that's a turnover.
Well, I mean, look, this is Henry Bolton with just an absolute no-no. A freshman. Is the ball? That's the replay of the Angelo Chol. Henry Bolton, as a freshman trying to be a point guard, kind of dribbled into a double team. But if you look over at the Utah State bench, Stu Morrill just grabbed JoJo McGlasson and said, what are you doing? There's 2 straight times down the court. First time they get an offensive rebound. Okay, let's bring it out. He's yelling, set back up the offense. And the next time in transition, you can't do that against San Diego State. You can't play ugly and sloppy and try and attack. You have to take your time, execute, and not give them runouts. And then defensively, limit them to 1 shot.
Collette against Chol. Ball fake. Harris streaks in for the rebound, and he'll get free throws. Utah State on the road. San Diego State so good at home and up by 4. Get the fastest scores and updates for Utah State, San Diego State, and all teams. CBS Sports app. Fastest app for sports fans. Download the CBS Sports app right now. Good news for San Diego State fans. Dwayne Poley who collapsed in a ball game in December and has been out since, has resumed light basketball activities. Doug, he's still a long ways, though, from joining this team and actually playing in games.
Well, he said he has to get in shape. I said, you're always in shape, lean, you know. But obviously it was a scary situation. He had previously passed out going back to last year in practice. And so there's just a lot of caution. And the big question was, is at the end of the day, will the lawyers at a state university sign off on a kid even if the doctors clear him to play? And to that, we don't have an answer yet. He seems to feel good about it. The staff feels relatively lukewarm good about it. Just no one knows if, in fact, he'll be completely cleared to play. If so, the timeline would be 2 weeks or so.
And unfortunately, he's kind of gone past the threshold for redshirting.
And he's already redshirted when he transferred, but obviously this would be a medical redshirt. It's a tough story because he had such an impact on the Aztecs this year. Sean Harris misses the first and misses the second.
He had impact for the Aztecs in a Sweet 16 year last year. Hit some big shots, some game-winning shots.
As elegant a basketball player running the floor as any you'll ever see, and really transformed his game from a guy who was just a dunker in high school in Los Angeles and at St. John's as a freshman to a guy that had pro potential.
Shrigley from the corner, a 9-2 run for San Diego State and a 4-point lead. Starters back on the floor for Utah State. Perry, Perkins in the backcourt. Colette, Harris, along with Smith in there as well.
And that's Malik Pope guarding the, down underneath the basket. A freshman who can really shoot for San Diego State.
Tip by Chol. Nice rebound by Perkins with a right-hand bunny in the lane. For all the turnovers, and there are 6 of them for Utah State, they're only down by 2.
Utah State's zone is a unique one, and they do a very good job of covering that high post. Teams have tried to figure out, is it a 1-3-1, a 1-1-3, a 2-3? The answer is yes.
The answer is a baseline jumper by Winston Shepard.
When he's on balance, he's a decent shooter. The problem is he's not always on balance, but Winston Shepard has worked to make himself capable of making that shot.
Perry splits the defense. Smith straight on 3. Allen. This is Pope. No look and no catch.
That was a beautiful pass from Malik Pope. That's not his fault. That's Angelo Chol's fault. And Pope, a guy who had a huge impact going back to last Saturday night when they lost a tough one at Colorado State. He ends up with 22 and 7. But Pope is a game changer for the Aztecs because they so badly need somebody with size who can also step out and stretch the defense.
And he's still working the rust off after an injury in high school.
He broke his left leg twice.
Four-point San Diego State lead. Colette. Smith. Well, that was with a hand in his face. It's Chris Smith, the junior out of Sacramento.
Chris Smith, the guy everyone in this conference really took a look at, recruited. They got him on him early when he got to junior college.
Yuba City Community College.
Spencer Butterfield, I think, went there as well. They're very strong with Yuba.
Stu Morrill was pretty honest with his team when the season started. With junior college transfers and freshmen, he said, look, we're not going to be great right out of the chute, but once we get to Mountain West play, I think you guys are going to get a lot better. And lo and behold, they are a lot better. They're a very nondescript, non-conference run. And they're going 5-3 to start this season. They're 12-8 overall. Shepard on balance. 2 tips. And a foul and a reach.
Here's how Chris Smith got that last bucket. Nice little set. You mentioned what Stu Morrill likes to do. Set up their offense. They hit the wing. Here's Smith. He's not going to screen. It's just kind of an interchange because they know San Diego State's going to switch into a handoff. And right there, he had a jump shot early. Instead, takes a contested one. Part of that Utah State offense is they like to get into their sets and get their shooters clean looks.
Pope shuffled his feet. He's coming off a nice 3-game run.
And Pope's got to shoot that basketball. You're in there to shoot. Matter of fact, last time we were here, Matt Shrigley actually taken out of the game for not taking jump shots against UNLV.
And Pope has hit his last 6 threes that he's taken.
That's a big lineup for the Aztecs. J.J. O'Brien, essentially the point or the second guard at about 6'6". Pope in there with Skylar Spencer. Winston Shepard is a big, long, very good rebounding lineup. The question is, can they score enough points?
Elston Jones off the bench for Utah State. Collette, the freshman who's averaging 13 a game, sits down. Fresh shot clock off the foul. 8.5 left, first half in the Mountain West. Utah State on the road, and this is a treacherous place to play for a visiting team. One of the longest home win streaks in college basketball, 5th longest. 26 straight. San Diego State has won here. It's a double dribble.
So now San Diego State looking at Utah State's zone defense. And the issue with this lineup is your best shooter is Akil Quinn. Your second best shooter is Malik Pope, who's playing the high post. You got to hope that Quinn gets an open look. And then really their best offense is going to be the second shot, an offensive rebound.
San Diego State just 30% from beyond the arc. Quinn. Shepard. No finish and no tip. McGlaston the rebound. Final year for Stu Morrill, his 17th. Whoever gets this team next year will inherit a really nice team. He's very proud of that fact. Perry, that's blocked. And the shot clock melts to 2. Timeout on the floor. Doug Gottlieb, you missed this?
Come on, man. You're like pouring salt in wounds? That ain't right. That ain't right.
What a terrific career for Stu Morrill, the head coach at Utah State. Our Saturday overdrive, his Aggies on the road and down 2. Of course, he was at Montana for 5 years, Colorado State for 7, 17 at Utah State. So many awards, so many tournaments, so many big moments. He has 614 career wins, and he steps aside at the end of this year.
Well, and this is one thing to keep in mind, is their success they had in the Big West and in the WAC. And to anyone who says, well, yeah, Utah State wasn't very good last year. You're talking about winning 7 games in your first year in the Mountain West and doing it probably the best year ever the Mountain West had. Utah State was consistently the best team or the second best team in the Big West and the WAC during his tenure at USU. You go back, as you point out, Colorado State and Montana, and then the other coaches that he has helped spawn. The Larry Kristowiaks, the Wayne Tinkles, who got a chance to play for him. Old school, hard nosed, and he's a classy. He's got those funny quips. You know, like when Arizona State came open one time, somebody asked me if he's interested. He said they want somebody who's young, rich, and sexy. I'm none of those 3. I'm going to stay here.
As we noted, he's very proud that he's going to leave with the cupboard quite full. O'Brien rotates Pope in the corner. Long tip and a rare run out. Perkins steps through. Offensive foul.
Boy, I don't know. I don't like the call. Steps to the side, and Akil Quinn was set. Now, technically, as the rule had changed, if you move to the side, you still get the call. What do you think? Darius Perkins charge, or was that a block?
Flip a coin.
I like the fact that Akil Quinn got back and relatively set his feet, even though he didn't take it over the center of his body. And the change in the interpretation of the charge rule allows that type of flop or contact to be an offensive foul.
But we looked at it twice in slow motion, and still it's flip a coin. It tells you how difficult it is for an official who has to call that in real time while he's running up the floor with everybody.
Totally fair.
All right, let's see if someone can get hot here. Neither team has really established themselves.
You've watched San Diego State play a lot. You're expecting an offensive outburst? They have not allowed a team to score more than 59 points here. So, if anything, they're below that pace. But that's generally what happens when you step onto the campus of San Diego State.
Claxton, a baseline drive. Collette, 8th turnover. Quinn out of control. Collette and Smith collided with him. Let's see who the foul is on.
And you know, Akil Quinn hadn't practiced in the last couple of days because of a bad back. And the coaching staff was joking with him, saying, you should have fresh legs because you haven't been working out. But he does look a step quicker than he has looked in previous games. Of course, he had the hand injury, and he had to have surgery. And then he's had a bad back recently.
O'Brien missed the jump hook. Moore with a rebound. Five team fouls for Utah State, just 3 for San Diego State. Neither team has been to the line much at all. Another steal, another turnover. Allen. Corner three. The senior out of Los Angeles, Akil Quinn. The lead is 5. Smith around the screen, it was blocked. Williams collects it. Allen. O'Brien. I think it was on the cylinder.
Now look, it's a good call, but still the issues for Utah State are very apparent. Ball's on the cylinder. It was close, but still a pretty good call. But the point is that even though that bucket doesn't count, the fact that Utah State cannot run their offense against San Diego State, and the fact that San Diego State's playing volleyball on their own offensive boards is going to be problematic, because eventually they're going to make some of these layups and close shots.
And Stu Morrill told us that today. That's a real concern. This is not a good rebounding team in Utah State. Into the corner for Perkins, where the Aggies need a bucket. Under 4.5 left first half. They've got just 11 points. McClaston to Moore, and he gets it for him.
And I was just thinking, they need a bucket. How about Jalen Moore? You mentioned how they're not a good rebounding team. That's because they're playing Jalen Moore at the power forward. Why don't more teams play a stretch power forward? That's why, because you play a smaller or more slight player at that position.
Quinn. And it's a walk. Well, and it's a turnover.
Akil Quinn, who hadn't practiced, but apparently doesn't need it, right? Coach, I don't need to practice. You know why? I get you buckets in a game. AQ Quinn for 3. And you mentioned, Rich, when you need a bucket, turn to your leading scorer, Jalen Moore, getting the Aggies more within 2.
Former NFL Ironman London Fletcher joins Anita Marks, Brandon Tierney, Amy Trask. They'll get you ready for Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl 49, the other pregame show tomorrow morning, 10 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. All right, we polled the two teams. Utah State leaning heavily on the Seahawks. They've got a pair of Aggies, Bobby Wagner, Robert Turpin, on that team. Now, no San Diego State players will be in the Super Bowl, but Seattle goes 4 of 5 here in San Diego. Only Matt Strigley goes with New England.
The proper answer is always Chargers. That's the proper answer. Who's playing the Chargers? You know, you have to have your team. So who are you picking as a, now you live?
Half the year.
You live half of the year
in Seattle.
Right. The other half of the year you travel covering the Miami Marlins.
I'm in Miami the other half.
Yes.
I know the Dolphins aren't there.
Yes.
So I would have to go with the Seahawks.
But who do you actually think is going to win the game?
Seattle. How about you? You spent a whole week hobnobbing with all the beautiful people in Arizona. McGlaston airballs at 3.
I picked Seattle last year. I think New England wins this year.
Skip pass to the corner. Kell rising and scoring.
Now, Trey Kell is a freshman, a really talented player, but had to play out of position and was a point guard. And then he kind of fell in love with taking jump shots, and he's not a great jump shooter. This is growth and maturation. Turns down an open 3, doesn't travel, takes it to the bucket, and that's what Trey Kell will do for the next 3+ years here on Montezuma Mason.
Kell trying to complete a 3-point play. Jalen Moore with his 4th rebound to go with 8 points. And it's a 4-point San Diego State lead. We approach the 3-minute mark. Low scoring first half.
You mentioned Seattle. San Diego State has 2 players, including Keith Smith from Seattle, on official visits here for the Aztecs. Seattle's such a hotbed for college basketball and NBA talent.
Moore, and the crowd got Perkins. You hear the crowd counting down the shot clock. It was at 5. The crowd brought it to 1, and Perkins bought. He bid on it.
That's one of those, I hope it only happens to you once. You know, there's a shot clock. He was at the top of the key. There's a shot clock. Just look up. But he panicked.
Score that one for the show.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for the Herd, which is the student section at Utah State, equally popular and very, very effective, San Diego State does not make a trip to Logan this year.
That's one of those at the start of the year, San Diego State thought, oh, that's a win we don't get. Now you feel very fortunate to not go to Logan. They just beat Wyoming at home. They suffocated the Cowboys' offense. They're excellent in the D. Glenn Spectrum Event Center.
56-44.
Mouthful.
Perkins knocks it out of bounds. AT&T at the half. Certainly a busy day in college basketball. Some Duke, Virginia highlights I would expect coming up. AT&T at the half. Dana Jacobson, Seth Davis, John Rossi, and Kerry Kittles in the studio.
Kerry Kittles, he spun me like a top my freshman year at Notre Dame. You know how I know how ineffective I was in the game against Kerry Kittles? He didn't know I played in that team.
In a low-scoring game, this is the biggest lead so far for San Diego State. Perry off balance. Shepard the rebound. Quinn. Great anticipation by Jalen Moore.
Yeah, that's also Angelo Chol. Second time that he has dropped the ball right around the bucket. Malik Pope gave him a dime in transition. He needs to catch that, do a chin-up.
Perkins walks. Utah State is kind of wilting right now. 11 turnovers.
I don't think he would walk. Let's just see. Yep, good call. Dan Crispin got it. He was right there. He saw it.
Actually, 12 turnovers for Utah State.
12 turnovers?
That's right. Shepard misses. Moore has his 5th rebound.
It's one of those you're open for a reason.
Jump ball.
That's 13.
Shepard. Still a minute left. First half. But can anybody score?
Utah State looks so discombobulated at the offensive end.
Cho with a block.
And then that happens.
Kell walked.
We mentioned the first pump fake where he held his feet. Trey Kell's a very skilled player. He just got a little too excited.
So a 7-point Aztec lead. Half a minute left in this first half.
That's the 10th turnover for San Diego State. But see, people ask all the time, like, well, what is it about Viejas that makes it difficult to play there? And I think the show is great. The student section is great. It's more the defense, the rebounding, the length, the athleticism, the effort that comes from San Diego State. That's why Utah State looks embarrassingly bad at the offensive end. That's a good, well-coached team. You look at the steals, where the long arms, active hands, getting deflections, stepping in, recovering. They try and keep you to one side of the floor.
7 of Utah State's 13 turnovers have come in the last 5 minutes.
Well, we saw with the UNLV game where San Diego State, the other thing they do is they wear you down. Is that they'll play a ton of guys, they'll play 10 guys, they'll press you the whole game, and you end up making fatigue turnovers like that one.
That's 14 turnovers. Utah State's fortunate they're not down by more than 7.
Yeah, well, that's the only problem for San Diego State is they can't score, so they can't run away and hide.
24 turnovers in 19.5 minutes.
The worst part of what San Diego State does is when they shoot the ball on offense. Everything else they do is outstanding.
Well, I mean, that's why Xavier Thames was so important, and that's why Dwayne Polee is such a loss. Shot clock is off. Quinn around a screen. Shepard slipped, lost it. Moore has it. Long shot. And, oh, wow. Jalen Moore almost hit it from 3/4 court.
That was their best look that they've gotten in the last 5 minutes.
4 minutes and 16 seconds without a point for Utah State.
It wasn't like San Diego State, though, was efficient offensively. 11 turnovers, including Winston Shepard turning it over on that last possession.
San Diego State goes in at half, up at half, 21-14, thanks to a terrific half of defense. 14 turnovers this defense forced. Utah State just 6 of 21 from the field. In the Mountain West, San Diego State trying to keep pace with Wyoming. Right now a 7-point lead on a Saturday overdrive. AT&T at the half coming up.